Hello everyone, we're going to be looking at the usual rundown. The big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. We're going to look at Ripple and Bitcoin Cash as well. We'll start on the daily time frames and then we'll zoom in for a closer look. Overlapping my audio there. Sorry for everybody that got confused with the thumbnail from the videos yesterday. Just note that the title of the video for the cryptocurrency videos is the same every single time. For the last 240 videos, it's just Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin right in the title. So that's the very easy way to tell if it's crypto or not. So checking in on Bitcoin first to start it off. And a point that I'm going to be making in this video I've made many times before, but it's just the importance of correlations and the importance of using Bitcoin as the backbone of your analysis, depending, or really whatever coin you're trading. There are certain coins that obviously have stronger correlation than others to Bitcoin, but if you're trading the big three, you definitely need to be watching Bitcoin and using its signals along with the analysis and indicators on your own individual coin. And I'll explain that a little bit in just a minute. So Bitcoin on the daily time frame has a nice bounce following through. We do not have a higher low on the daily time frame yet. So what I am looking for, when I'm looking for a daily higher low, essentially we have to lose the 4-hour higher low pattern. We have to lose the daily higher low pattern. Right now we have higher lows every single day, 4 days in a row. That pattern has to be lost to see a clear little period of consolidation to form that higher low. It doesn't have to happen now. I'm just saying in order to change this trend on the daily time frame and make me think that this bounce is significant and that the bottom is in for now, meaning weeks, potentially months, I need that higher low and higher high. Sure, we can run up to 10,000 first. That's entirely possible, but I need the higher low and higher high. Because right now where we stand on this daily time frame, let's not disregard the fact that this could be a potential bear flag. This is a weak, well, it's a nice bounce. It's stronger than we've seen recently, but comparative to the overall downtrend, this would be our flagpole, this would be our flag, and then it's a continuation pattern to the downside. And we've seen that play out multiple times, just little bear flags. I'm not going to draw out all these little channels, but just little weak bounce attempts that lead to continuation. So again, we're not having any bias in our analysis. That's our game plan, is to stay as unbiased as possible and to look at this from both perspectives and say, okay, it's a very solid bounce. It's more volume than we've seen. It's stronger than we've seen in a long time, but it is still a potential bear flag. And if we reject from these exponential resistances yet again, where the last three bounces have rejected, that would be the potential point where we have to pull back and form that higher low. So all in all, that's where I stand on the daily time frame and the longer term outlook. And that's really looking all the way through February as to whether or not we're going to get that higher low and higher high or not. A red flag, let's go over two scenarios. A bullish sign on consolidation once we do begin to pull back is declining bear volume and very low volume consolidation and nice and contained, almost sideways trading with a little bit of a downward angle. A unhealthy period of consolidation that would make the bulls nervous that we're heading back down to the low of the dump is increasing bear volume and very quickly giving back this bull move with just 1 or 2 down days. So those are two different scenarios that we'll be keeping an eye out for. 4-hour time frame on Bitcoin. So let's go through this 4-hour. I mean, it's a really nice higher low pattern, and the periods of consolidation are generally happening overnight on the East Coast. So here are our higher lows. In the video yesterday, we were looking at this as our higher low at that point in time, and we were saying, all right, this is going to dictate the night. If we see a break of the bull break, obviously, then the bulls have nice momentum heading into tomorrow, which would be today. Or if we see a bear break, that means that we're going to pull back and we're going to look back at our next 4-hour support, and that was down at 75.35. So if we held that level of support, and we saw a pattern overnight that has played out twice now, 2 out of the last 3 nights. It was last night, and then not Thursday night, but Wednesday night. So Wednesday, or take that back, Tuesday night and Thursday night, the same pattern played out on the 15-minute time frame where we had consolidation overnight, and the turnaround, the end of that period of consolidation, which formed a higher low on the 4-hour time frame, was marked by a 15-minute equilibrium pattern breaking bullish. And here it is on Wednesday night. We had our low, high. So here's our healthy consolidation. This is when we broke the lows of that consolidation and said, okay, we have to establish a higher low on the 4-hour time frame. We then had a higher low, lower high, higher low, clear bull break on this candlestick. We pointed this pattern out in the video the next day. So now let's go back to last night and say, okay, we were consolidating. We formed a higher low on the 4-hour time frame. What marked the turnaround? So here's the consolidation that was going on. We had the bear break. It was the same, or I should say a similar equilibrium pattern. This one was more of a double bottom, but still an equilibrium pattern fitting in here. And I'm all over the place here. There we go. So we got our low down here at 7751, lower high down here 775. We'll call that a double bottom. It's a dollar difference. That's insignificant. So a double bottom, another lower high, higher low, and then bulls show up. The bull volume marks the bull break, and obviously the follow through. So that's 2 times now where overnight, these are what it looks like on the 4-hour time frame. These were our periods of consolidation back on Wednesday night and then again last night. And both of them were marked with the bulls showing back up by 15-minute equilibrium patterns breaking bullish. So look at the increasing bull volume on the 4-hour time frame here as well. It's a great sign for the bulls. We have lower wick showing bulls buying the dip. It wasn't an inside candlestick officially because we did break by $1, but essentially a double bottom with a little inside bar. We did break bullish. And I'm not one to go by exact definitions. If you're off by $1 on Bitcoin, which is $7,000, I'm calling that a double bottom, and I'm calling that the same essentially as an inside bar. So increasing bull volume on the recovery. We broke resistance. We broke to the highest price we've seen on this bull move. We got our 4-hour exponential moving average cross the 12 and 26 period, and now we have plenty of space where we can consolidate and form a higher low, easily maintaining this 4-hour higher low pattern. 7,750 is our higher low that needs to be maintained here on this 4-hour time frame. So bulls are comfortable. This bounce is not done yet. We're following through. We had that nice bull momentum following through, and the point I wanted to make on needing to look at Bitcoin as the lead indicator happened on the 15-minute time frame when we broke out today, and we had a climax alert go out, one of our climax signals with the abnormal volume marked with the high RSI level signaling potential temporary tops, and it happened on Ethereum and Litecoin a bit early, and then they kept running. And the first thing that I did when I saw those alerts go out was I looked at Bitcoin and I said, okay, Bitcoin's 15-minute RSI is not to the point where it's signaling that alert yet. So while those other two names had signaled their overbought climax, Bitcoin had not sent it out yet. So that tells me that means Bitcoin can keep going, and that means that it can push those other names due to the bullish correlation that's favoring them. It can push them higher to more extreme levels. So it ended up with those alerts going out for those individual names about a candlestick or so early on them, and then Bitcoin fired off its climax up here when the RSI was high enough, and that ended up being a little triple top here, and now we are seeing some more drawn out consolidation. But the point being, whether you're getting an alert, whether you're doing analysis on your own chart that's not the Bitcoin chart, you're looking at Bitcoin and you're running everything by it and comparing and making sure that, you know, things are lining up, and also making sure that it's the same thing on oversold dumps. If Litecoin's RSI on the hourly is 20, but Bitcoin's sitting at, 30, I know that we can see some further downside that can really push Litecoin to extreme levels because of that Bitcoin correlation. So let's check in on Ethereum. Actually, let's go shorter term timeframes here on Bitcoin. So we are seeing a little triple top. It was an ascending triangle pattern. Ascending triangle is when you have a horizontal line of resistance. And my magnet is not wanting to be magnety, but we got a triple top. So a horizontal line of resistance and then a higher low pattern with a tightening range, tighter and tighter. And that was a clear bear break. As soon as we lost the support of 8,621, we lost the higher low pattern. And now we're looking for healthy hourly consolidation, which is underway. Exponential supports, we'll look to see if the bulls can hold those levels. So healthy consolidation mode, lots of space to pull back and still remain very strong on the hourly and 4-hour chart. And Ethereum, everything's doing pretty much the same thing. Ethereum is now at its daily exponential resistance. Its bounce is following through. Again, still need the higher low and higher high before I'm confident in a prolonged bounce playing out. 4-hour time frame has some very clear higher lows, and Ethereum's bullish correlation picked up this morning, and we could tell it was acting a lot more bullish than Bitcoin was. Just comparing where they were at on their charts, it was an early bull break here where we broke above our lower high on the 4-hour time frame. Pretty good amount of time before Bitcoin did. Look at the volume here on Ethereum. That is all bull volume. That is great sign for the follow through move. So the key break of resistance for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, seeing a lot of volume follow through. So here on the 4-hour time frame, let's go back. 4-hour time frame, anything above 780 is a higher low, and keeping the bulls in control. Hourly time frame, healthy consolidation. The hourly uptrend will remain intact. Anything above 842. But as far as this bounce goes, 4-hour time frame is the time frame. 4-hour and daily are the most important time frames that I'm watching. So we can lose the hourly higher low pattern and be just fine. And essentially we can lose the 4-hour higher low pattern and be just fine, because we're going to have to do that for that daily higher low that I'm looking for to form. So any of these breaks of support are not going to be game over on the bounce. It's just going to be, be patient right now, or go back to all cash and wait for a better entry opportunity. So I actually did get stopped out of Ethereum last night. I was making an entry when we were in an equilibrium pattern here. Made an entry down here right around the low 800s when I saw the dump. I saw the 15-minute lower high pattern break, so then I anticipate a higher low to form on consolidation. I waited until the bulls started showing up, and I entered a third position, market order third position, just to get a piece of the action, to wait for this, or I should say the rest of the 2/3, I was waiting for this equilibrium pattern to break bullish, and I just didn't want to buy a full position market order on an equilibrium break and compete with everybody, so I entered a portion of my position early before the break occurred. Turns out the break occurred bearish, and it stopped me out as soon as this low broke of 792. That being said, we didn't pull back that much further. We dropped down, and we did break support, again, only by $1, not a significant amount at all, and then the bulls showed back up. So I was in bed at that point, and to be completely honest, I'm not really actively trading the cryptocurrency space as much right now, because the stock market is giving once in multiple year opportunity right now in terms of the volatility the stock market is seeing. I was scalping trades in the S&P 500, over 10 trades today. Just that's taking up my attention, because we're seeing movement there that we are not used to seeing. And again, it's a once in probably a 2-year opportunity for that kind of volatility. So I got stopped out of my third position, and I said, all right, well, I'm going to bed. I want a full night's sleep, because I know the market's going to be volatile tomorrow in terms of the stock market. So if I were going to be looking to get back into an entry, we had a break of this little lower high pattern on the 15-minute, and then we looked for higher lows and higher highs, and that's when the bulls showed up, and they kept that momentum all early in the morning and into just losing it right now with healthy consolidation. So it was a bit of a break, a bit of a fake out, but not an all-out dump. The bulls did defend a support level, the next support level to be looking at, which was after 792 down at 780. So overall, bulls looking great. Hourly higher low pattern looking to form. Anything above 842 will maintain that higher low. Let's check out Litecoin. Same pattern, but we're closer to breaking higher low and higher high bullish, and we're closer to getting over the daily exponential resistance, which has been continuing to give Bitcoin trouble on its bounce attempts on the daily chart. So bulls are looking good here. Look at the volume increase. That's a great sign. Bull MACD cross already going off on Litecoin. Checking in on Bitcoin, we are not there yet. We need another day. So one step ahead of the game on the MACD, and checking the 4-hour time frame, maintaining those higher lows, looking fine. We've got the higher lows the whole way up, and the most recent one, 142.21. Anything above that, again, look at the volume. All three of these big three are seeing huge volume spikes on this follow through, and that is a great sign. There is some power behind that move, and that tells you a lot of bulls are watching the same levels, right? So we break our 4-hour equilibrium bullish, and a lot of people are noting that. So looking at the hourly, anything above 151.14 is a higher low. And again, it'd be ideal if the bulls could hold that level, but it's not essential to stay in the uptrend to hold that hourly higher low. 15-minute chart, lost the higher low pattern. So again, here's where this 15-minute indicator went off, and that is because actually it went off right about there, and we consolidated and saw continuation as Bitcoin had not sent out its alert yet, and the RSI was about 4 to 5 points lower on Bitcoin 15-minute than it was on Litecoin. So that's where we stand. Again, don't have to go in depth because it's all the same analysis for these big three right now. There's just some slight variations on who is strongest. But I do like Litecoin and Ethereum, both just about the same right now in terms of where they are in strength. And of course, if you were going to go in and try and determine, exactly which one's stronger, you'd be going in and looking at the ETH BTC chart. And here it is on the 4-hour time frame, still pretty tight there. And then you would compare it to LTC BTC and see which one looks more bullish. And right now we're coming from a more bullish position on Litecoin because of that weekend run that we saw with the LitePay news that came out. So that's a potential reason, maybe a little fundamental catalyst that would make you want to choose Litecoin. Either way, all of them are seeing very similar moves, and they're all going in the same direction. Ripple had a bull spike today, and it came out of nowhere, and it looked very news-related, but so far I haven't come across any news. But we have these exponential resistances on the daily, testing those levels again. Increased bull volume, close to a bull MACD cross, 4-hour time frame, maintaining higher lows, very similar correlation to Bitcoin overall. And here are our higher lows forming. And now anything above 735. Anything above 735 is a 4-hour higher low. We are well above that level, increasing bull volume here as well. The hourly time frame, healthy consolidation. I'm looking at support of 869, and then I'm looking down at a support level of 80 cents. And resistance is the top of the move of 928. So really nice bull move, and you can see the volume really pick up here. Big volume spike, which is why I thought it might be news related, but haven't been able to find anything. But following through and definitely keeping the correlation to Bitcoin right now, which is a good sign for the bulls. But it's the same position where the daily chart could be a bear flag, and we have to form. There's actually a little bit more of a, no, we need a higher low and a higher high. Again, this isn't enough. There's no real period of consolidation here. We had one day that took a little breather, but that wasn't a pullback to form a higher low. So again, that's just something visually for me that I'm looking for. And, you know, whether that meets my criteria or not is all opinion-based from me, that we need a more clear little period of consolidation, but we're not getting any indication that that's going to happen tonight. So healthy consolidation underway tonight, and we'll see. That's been the pattern. Note the patterns. 2 out of the last 3 days, or maybe even 3 out of the last 3. I forget what we did on Wednesday night, but we had healthy consolidation overnight on the U.S. East Coast. And early morning, earlier than normal, before 6 a.m., we see the bulls start to show up, and they keep that momentum through the morning. So let's see if we see healthy consolidation again tonight and some bullish follow through tomorrow morning. BCH had a spike as well. I personally don't trade BCH, nothing against it. If it has the ability to make profit, I'll absolutely trade it, but it is harder, depending on your position size, it's not as easy liquidity-wise in terms of trading, entering and exiting. So I have a much easier time with the big three than I do on BCH. And it's also, you know, a lack of comfortability where I've traded the other names dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of times at this point. And BCH I have traded before, but I very quickly found, okay, this is not like trading the other names and the liquidity is not the same. So I went back to my safe haven and what's been working for me. But we did see a nice big bull move. The 4-hour higher low pattern was very similar to Bitcoin and the big three that we're looking at, but it clearly broke out a bit sooner and saw much more significant follow through. So at this point, the most recent higher low I'm looking at would really be around 1,187 or so. And there's a couple levels right around here, 1,197, 87, and 64. Those are all 3 little support levels of consolidation. And in terms of resistance, we can see on the hourly chart that we have a tightening little pattern. It does favor the bulls because we did get a little bull break for continuation here, but we have to keep this higher low pattern to keep the bulls in full control, 1270. If we lose 1270 there, we will likely head back down towards 1200 because that will lose the momentum, and we do have a few lower highs to still be watching. Resistance is 1320 and 1335 before the high of the bull move. So close to shifting here, and if we lose that higher low pattern, then we should see a pullback down towards 1200. So it is correlated a little bit to the degree that we are in consolidation mode, but you can see the breakout again, looking at the 4-hour time frame. This breakout occurred yesterday, whereas these names, the big three, are now just seeing a bull break just a few hours ago recently. So that's where we stand on all these big names heading into tomorrow. Again, healthy consolidation. I'll be watching Bitcoin to see how much consolidation are we going to see, and are we going to pull back tonight? And where we stand right now, again, look at the pattern where we just see 4 green 4-hour candlesticks in a row, consolidate, 2, consolidate, 3, consolidate. Here's another 3. So that seems to be roughly the pattern between 2 and 4 candlesticks. And then we see some healthy consolidation. So bulls very pleased with that we got that higher high. It takes a little bit of burden off of them to keep proving they have strength. Whereas, you know, if we were still forming a lower high right now, we could be watching for the potential of a bear break. Whereas because we broke to a higher high, bear break is not in sight. And unless there's some FUD that strikes overnight, we are very unlikely to make it all the way back down to 7,700 heading into tomorrow. So I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday, and we will continue to check in throughout the weekend. I hope you continue to do things and have a wonderful forever.